Hey, hey, hi, hi. I don't know what's going on in the YouTube world, but if you catch this on replay, please like, make sure you subscribe, and leave your comments below what you're thinking. Today, we're going to talk about how to keep our internets safe. Ooh, sorry about that. Um, yeah, how to keep our internet safe. So I'm going to run my intro. Hopefully, someone will join me, and then we'll just go ahead and get into that.
Because your mind is on vacation and your mouth is working overtime.
If you're someone who's been feeling alone, life can be a little scary. Come talk to Grandma Sherry.
Hey, hi. Hey, hi. Hey, Zen. Hey, OG London girl. If you can stay, great. If not, catch it on replay. Aw, you have a bunny in your yard now? That is too cool. That is too cool. Well, I hope everybody's doing well. Hey, Wise Angel UK, welcome in, welcome in. So today I wanted to talk to you about some stuff happening here in the United States about internet. And our Senate just passed a bill that is supposed to hold, oh, what's the word I'm looking for? Specific internet sites like Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and all these people, supposed to hold them accountable for what they're allowing children to access. And I think we can all agree that it is something that needs to have something done about it, especially when it comes to things like bullying, cyber harassment. They call it cyber law. And so I wanted to share this with you right quick. And then I wanted to have a discussion about how is this good and why it might not be so good. So There we go. Let me open this up and I will go make myself disappear. No, go away. There. Okay. So this is a new law. Am I on the right thing? No, I'm not. Hang on. Here we go. A new law designed for children's internet safety will change the way the web works for adults too. Um, so the bill requires fundamental changes to platform design and personalization settings. And this was from last year. Okay. In September, California Governor Gavin Newsom signed AB 2273, the California Age Appropriate Design Code Act, into law. The bill, designed to protect minors on the internet, goes beyond today's simple parental controls. It requires fundamental changes in the design of platforms that protect children's online privacy while also mitigating harms such as bullying and exploitation and inappropriate content. The law requires new default settings for children, tools for managing privacy preferences, impact assessments before new products are released, and adjustments to behavior manipulations designed to keep children using a product. So what they're saying here is that basically kids are not products. You shouldn't be targeting things to children in order to profit. While directed towards children's safety and well-being, the impact of the law could be much broader, says Stanford HAI Privacy and Data Policy Fellow Jennifer King. This is focused on kids, but this is coming for adult audiences too. What we're seeing is the shift toward a world where you get more choices over what and how you want things given to you, and it isn't simply the company's version of personalization. In this conversation, she explains the implications of the new law and how it will impact AI developers and what happens next in the U.S. privacy and AI regulation landscape. What are you saying, Vice Angel? The Fallow Daybill case has thrown up some interesting dialogue as media, and I'm using the term loosely, have been contacting the courts and FOIA requests for the autopsy reports. Ooh, yeah. Harsh Reality had a rant about it on his channel earlier, calling them sick and disgusting for asking for autopsy pics. Well, you know what? If it bleeds, it leads, unfortunately. So the law shifts the baseline of defaults. Its feature of privacy by design, which is like the algorithm, what it's putting out there. And it's similar to how Apple has implemented ad tracking transparency, where you now have to opt into tracking within mobile apps rather than opting out. Over 75% of Apple customers say no when asked whether they want to be tracked. This law is similar, although the baseline is not whether you're being asked if you want to be tracked, you're just not being tracked. This new default will be for children under the age of 18, but could apply to any user of a website if the operator decides that offering that option is simpler than identifying the children who visit their website. The problem that I have with this is that kids, when they want to access something, they can lie. They can say, yes, I'm over 18, I'm over 21, and just, do a little quick math and say that their birth date is 5 years from when they were born. So this is where this law is coming from too, I believe. It's also similar to your online safety laws in the UK. I've heard that the online safety laws in the UK are much stricter than they are here in the United States, and I think that's probably something that we can learn from. But what they're trying to do here, hang on. Let me get rid of plush care. So this is what recently happened. The Senate passed a bill to protect kids online and make tech companies accountable for harmful content. There we go. So these are some girls just looking at their phone. Um, Now a bill aiming to protect kids from the harms of social media, gaming sites, and other online platform appears to have enough bipartisan support to pass, though whether it actually will remains uncertain. So this was from yesterday. Let me see if I can make this bigger so you guys can read it too. The Senate overwhelmingly passed legislation Tuesday that is designed to protect children from dangerous online content, pushing forward with what would be the first major effort by Congress in decades to hold tech companies more accountable for the harm they cause. The bill, which passed 91 to 3, has been pushed by parents of children who died after online bullying or have otherwise been harmed by online content. It would force companies to take reasonable steps to prevent harm on online platforms frequently used by minors, requiring them to exercise duty of care and ensure that they generally default to the safest settings possible. Let's see if I can get rid of that. Bye. The House has not yet acted on the bill. Speaker Mike Johnson, Republican from Louisiana, said he is committed to working to find consensus, but has not said whether he will bring it to the floor for a vote. Supporters are hoping that the strong Senate vote will push the House to act before the end of the congressional session in January. President Biden encouraged the House to send the legislation to his desk without delay. Today, our children are subjected to Wild West online, and current laws and regulations are insufficient to prevent this, Biden said, and it is past time to act. The legislation is about allowing children, teens, and parents to take back control of their lives online, said Democrat Senator Richard Blumenthal of Connecticut, who wrote the bill with Republican Senator Marsha Blackburn of Tennessee. He said that the message to big tech companies is that we no longer trust you to make decisions for us. What are we going here? Hey, Kate the Great. Hi, baby. In England. Okay, we have done this without pop pornography, bullying, online grooming, in gaming chat. It also covers adults too, and our privacy using both the data protection and the GDPR, protecting us from being doxxed. Hey, that's what we need, guys. Okay, so this bill would be the first major tech regulation package to move in years, and it could potentially pave the way for other bills that would strengthen online privacy laws or set parameters for the growing use of artificial intelligence, among others. While there has long been bipartisan support for the idea that the biggest technology companies should face more government scrutiny, there has been little consensus on how it should be done. Congress passed legislation earlier this year that would force China based social media company TikTok to sell or face a ban, but that law only targets one company. It's a good first step, but we have more to go, said Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, Democrat, New York. If the child safety bill becomes law, companies would be required to mitigate harm to children, including bullying and violence, the promotion of eating disorders, substance abuse, sexual exploitation, and advertisements for illegal products such as narcotics, tobacco, or alcohol. They are now looking at tightening things up with respect of misinformation being shared by tragedy pimps. The Home Secretary mentioned it on TV Tuesday. You know, I really need to look into that, Wise Angel, because I think this is great that they're actually doing something about it, but I think it's like, I don't know, it's like the horse done run out the barn and it's way down the road and now we're trying to catch up. It needs to be done, but how? Okay. If the child safety bill come okay, we read that. To do that, social media platforms would have to provide minors with options to protect their information, disable addictive product features, and opt out of personalized algorithmic recommendations. They would also be required to limit other users from communicating with children and limit features that increase, sustain, or extend the use of the platform, such as autoplay for videos or platform rewards. The idea, Blumenthal and Blackburn say, is for platforms to be safe by design. The message we are sending to big tech is that kids are not your product, Blackburn said at a news conference as the Senate passed the bill. Kids are not your profit source. Several tech companies, including Microsoft, X, and Snap, have supported the legislation, but there's also criticism that signaled a potential lobbying campaign aimed at the House. Carl Szabo, a vice president and counsel for NetChoice, a tech industry group that represents X and Snap, along with Google, TikTok, and Meta platforms, said in a statement that the law's cybersecurity, censorship, and constitutional risks remain unaddressed. But he didn't elaborate. And that's the whole thing. Again, how are they going to verify these kids' ages? Because if they want to pass that, all they have to do is lie about how old they are. And I'm giving this as an example because my grandson got in trouble not too long ago because we got a package at the house for some CBD products that he ordered online. And he's not 18, or at least he wasn't then, he is now. So basically, all he did was when it says, "Are you over 18?" he clicked yes. So, how are these tech companies going to verify to implement the algorithm changes? And Meta Platforms, which owns Facebook and Instagram, said in a statement that it supports the development of standards, but it would instead prefer legislation to require app stores to get parents' approval when teenagers download apps. Blumenthal and Blackburn, the people that wrote this bill, have said they wanted to put the burden on companies, not parents. And they've also worked to find a balance between forcing companies to become more responsible for what children see online, while also ensuring that Congress does not go too far in regulating what individuals post, an effort to head off potential legal challenges over freedom of expression. Some critics say the bill still goes too far. The American Civil Liberties Union said the bill could threaten users' privacy and compared it to book bans and classroom censorship laws. The House must block this dangerous bill before it's too late, said Jenna Liventoff, a senior policy counsel at the ACLU. Some advocacy groups have also expressed concern that the bill could harm kids who wouldn't be able to access information on LGBTQ plus issues or reproductive rights. Although the bill has been revised to address some of those concerns, those criticisms, and major LGBTQ plus groups are not opposing the legislation. Oregon Senator Ron Wyden, a fierce and longtime advocate for freedom of speech online, said he voted against the bill because of the concerns about the censorship of health information for LGBTQ plus teens and for the potential for lawsuits against encryption services that help young people stay safe from predators. The bill also includes an update to child privacy laws that prohibit online companies from collecting personal information from users under 13, raising that to age 17. It would also ban targeted advertising to teenagers and provide what lawmakers call an eraser button to delete a minor's personal information. My son had a Facebook account which was attached to mine, which was only to chat to his late father and his family. He was only allowed to log in on my phone while sat beside me. See that? Yeah, that's the parental control right there. Massachusetts Senator Ed Malarkey sponsored the original legislation in 1998, the last time Congress passed a child online safety law, and worked with Republican Senator Bill Cassidy of Louisiana on the update. Markey said that the online space has come a long way since the first bill, and new tools are needed for parents as teens have struggled with mental health. As their bill stalled for several months, Blumenthal and Blackburn worked closely with the parents of children who have been harmed by social media, either by cyberbullying or social media challenges like the Tide Pod Challenge from TikTok and the Cinnamon Challenge, extortion attempts, which is um, sextortion, where people get other people to send them naughty pictures, and then they say, if you don't pay me this, I'm going to, blast this all over your school, or I'm going to send it to your church, whatever. Eating disorders, drug deals, or other potential dangers. Maureen Molak, the mother of a 16-year-old who died after months of relentless and threatening cyberbullying, says she believes the bill can save lives. She urged every senator to vote for it. Anyone who believes that children's well-being and safety should come before big tech's greed ought to put their mark on this historic legislation. So yay, it's a step in the right direction. Encryption services also enable predators to hide in plain sight. Yes, yeah. And so, like I said, my whole thing here is how are they going to verify that this is not a child? Excuse me. How are they going to make sure that any kind of algorithm changes or whatever is targeting the right people? Because we do know that adults can go into gaming websites or gaming, their online chat rooms where they get together and pretend to be children. Oh, Nightbot, crying out loud. Um, they pretend to be children. And so, like I said, I think this is a great idea and it needs to be done, but I don't see any specifics of how they're going to implement that. They do have some things like this right here. This is called SEPA. It's from the FCC, Federal Communications Commission, the Children's Internet Protection Act. What this does is basically just schools and libraries, okay? Because schools and libraries are entitled to a discounted rate for internet access. And so the um, the schools that are subject to SEPA have two additional certification requirements. Their internet safety policies must include monitoring of the online activity of minors, and two, as required by the Protecting Children in the 21st Century Act, they must provide for educating minors about appropriate online behavior, including interacting with other individuals on social networking websites, chat rooms, and cyberbullying awareness. So is that enough? Just educating the kids that might be using these services and tell them, hey, don't talk to strangers online. If you don't know who that person is in real life, don't believe who they are, which is good. That's a good thing. All kids need to be taught that. But are they? Are they being taught that? Because it seems like the internet and social media sites are way, way behind regulating to protect children. And I'm not even sure that they can protect the kids, to be honest with you, because we've seen so many things that, oh, government has tried to do within the internet world to help protect, but it doesn't seem to be enough. So I'm not even sure. Yeah, I'm not even sure about any of this stuff. I don't. There's wonderful things that we have online, like NCMEC, the National Children's Missing and Exploited site that puts out the information statewide who's missing from where and how old they are and what they look like. And then every 3 years they update with an age progression photo to help try to find kids that are missing, that sort of thing. This is one thing that I thought was a fabulous thing, but none of us can actually agree on any of this. Like I said, we don't have anything that's self-evident. We don't have a foundation of what's right, what's wrong, and what's going on. And what I want to show you is something called Megan's Law. You ever heard of Megan's Law? This is a bunch of states have different Megan's Law websites, but here's the thing with this. Do- Okay, sorry, showing you the wrong thing. Here we go. Okay. So Megan was actually named after a little 7-year-old girl who was abducted. She was sexually assaulted and murdered by a neighbor that had a record of doing the same thing before. And so they came up with this concept of Megan's Law, which is basically an SO registry that anybody, it's a hard one. We're damned if we do and damned if we don't. That's right, wise angel. So Megan's Law is a federal law that requires the release of relevant information to protect the public from sexually violent offenders. It was originally enacted in 1996 and is now also included in the more expanded sexual offender laws. Here she is, the 7-year-old girl from Hamilton, New Jersey, who was essayed and murdered by her neighbor in 1994. Her parents fought to have a law passed that would inform communities of SOs living among them. Megan's Law was passed within months of her murder and was later adopted by numerous other states. So that's a great idea, you know. Um, I've read the disclaimer. So you can put in your address, or if you know somebody, you can put in your name, their name, by your city, by your county, by your zip code. And then this one also includes offenders registered as transient. But the problem with that is that we have people who want to get rid of that. They want to get rid of Megan's Law. Hey, Pookie! It is a start. It's better than continuing to remain stagnant. I pray all states join Washington that passed a bill to expand existing child P laws to include deep fakes. Yep. Hi, Burden, by the way, sweetheart. I'm here. Be listening from the rice until the battery gives out. Oh no. Oh no. The wet phone. Ugh. Oh my goodness. So like I said, not everybody's for this thing. And this kind of makes me angry because there are people out there who want to repeal Megan's Law. They want to remove and expunge the records of any registrant who was convicted of any Romeo and Juliet offense. And this could be um, when the boy is under 18 and the girl is under 18, that sort of thing. To reform sex offenders laws in the United States, they want to change state laws in the registries within the United States. Proposed reform falls into two broad categories: advocacy for reform of statutory laws that may require a teenager to register as a sex offender, or for sexting or consensual acts involving another teen, and the broader efforts to modify sex offender registration laws based upon what advocates see as disproportionate impact on the lives of convicted offenders compared to the public benefits. Yeah, I'm kind of the opinion that if if they're actually convicted of these things, that they don't get anything. No, I'm sorry. I know that there are people that are wrongfully convicted and whatnot, but here, this is change.org. How does the sex offender registry protect society and children? In a nutshell, it doesn't. The registry protects no one and takes rights away from tax-paying citizens who have paid their debt to society as defined by the courts. People can say what they want about the registry not being punitive, but in reality, it is punitive. A person on the registry cannot work, cannot live in most areas, cannot use the internet, cannot travel without notifying the police in person and in writing, and cannot have an email address unless they register it with the police in person and in writing to have and they have to register anywhere they're located for more than 3 days consecutively or visit more than 6 times in 6-month period. They are not allowed into any public parks or pools, cannot attend schools, cannot obtain for a visa for travel, must register phone numbers in person or writing to the police, must register any changes and any of the above in person and in writing, and the list goes on, along with ignorant and angry citizens taking vigilante violence against these ex offenders who have paid for their crimes. What happens if the registered ex sex offender fails to abide by any of the above? 15 years to life in prison. What are you thinking? Deep fakes are a thing on social media. Yeah, I've heard so many stories of people who received phone calls with a voice that sounded like their loved one saying, help me, I need this, that, or the other thing. And come to find out it was a deep fake. It was an AI thing. Facebook have been sued over it, yet they still won't remove them. Oh, okay. That's good. In the UK, that's good. I'm thankful Washington can and will now charge someone for any explicit child deepfake, whether proven to be a real child or not. Exactly. It doesn't matter. If they're using a deepfake of something that looks like a child, sounds like a child, no, then that goes into child protection laws. I don't care. I don't even care if it's an anime character. It's so funny pulling it out of rice. Been there, done that. Yes, yes. So, what are you guys thinking? You know, what are you guys thinking? Let me put this back up here. So, this is on the change.org petition. I heard one reporter make a statement that an offender is like an alcoholic. Once an alcoholic, always an alcoholic. Once an offender, always an offender. Okay, they say that is the most absurd statement I've ever heard. Unless your definition of alcoholic includes a person who takes one drink and never touches alcohol again. Two examples of how a person who had previously committed an offense gets arrested for a new crime. First, we will take an ex-offender from 25 years ago before the registry. He knows that the police has that little file with all his goodies in it. So to avoid being an automatic suspect, he drives an hour away, roughly 60 miles from where he lives, then commits the crime. The victim then calls the police. The police will perform the obvious test, first by asking if the victim knew the suspect or if the victim got a good look at the suspect or saw any identifying marks. If yes, the police look through their little files to show them to the victim. When the victim sees the suspect, the police go and arrest the suspect. If the victim didn't see anything, they continue with a kit and get DNA samples. If a DNA sample is found, the police look back into their little files until they found a match. Then they go and arrest the suspect. If no DNA sample is found, the suspect gets away with it. Now, the same scenario from today with the ex-offender who's on the registry. He knows that the police have that little file with all his goodies in it, and he knows he's on the registry. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, God. So, to avoid being an automatic suspect, he drives an hour away, roughly 60 miles from where he lives, commits the crime. The victim then calls the police. The police will perform all the tests, blah, blah, blah. All right, it's the same thing. Did the registry save this victim from having the crime committed against them? No. Did the registry help this victim identify the suspect? No. The little file did. Oh, you know what? You know what? Screw you people. No, 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 no. No, no, no. Uh-uh. What the registry does is help you be aware. If someone's coming into your life, your child's life, you're not sure, check them on the registry. We all do that now. Even people on dating sites do that. You know, they run background checks on the people because it's so easy. It's so easy nowadays for everybody to just fake who they are. Mm-mm-mm. The registry doesn't work, never has, and it never will. If all these ex-offenders are so dangerous, why didn't the judge or court sentence the ex-offender to more time? The law. They give excuses like they don't have room, cost too much money to keep them locked up. But the truth of it is much, much cheaper to keep the less than 6% of ex-offenders who are actually dangerous locked up than it is to put out all 100% on a registry. It is so blatantly unconstitutional and ineffective. No, I'm sorry. That makes me angry. That makes me angry. I don't know about you guys. If you're in the replay, if you're actually watching this, give me some comments and let me know your thoughts on all this stuff. You know, because what we can do is we can brainstorm together, do the hive mind thing, and we can actually contact our legislatures or Blumenthal that wrote the Senate bill that I was reading to you earlier. We can help them develop these things. What I'd like to see is some sort of punitive damages. People can sue Facebook and YouTube all day long, but excuse me, but within their user agreements is that you hold them totally harmless for anything that's happened on their platform to you. So they're not responsible for that. And this is a really sticky thing. It's not right to put the privacy of a convicted SO over the ability to protect the general public. Me too, Burden. Me too. I don't think that's right. Hey, Kia ora. Good morning from New Zealand. It's hot as blue blazes here. I'm sure it's getting cold there. So let's look at stuff. Ah, I can't type. Let's see. The rate at which sex offenders reoffend or commit new sexual offenses varies depending on several factors, including age, type of offense, and length of time. This is the AI overview. Age, the offenders who are over 50 are less likely to reoffend than younger offenders. Child M's who abuse boys have a higher recidivism rate than and child molesters who abuse girls. Incest. Time since the offense. The longer an offender has been offense free, the less likely they are to reoffend. For example, one study found that a 15-year recidivism rate for offenders with a prior conviction was almost double that of first time offenders. Overall, the recidivism rate for offenders ranged from 5% after 3 years to 24% after 15 years. However, these rates are likely an underestimate of actual reoffending due to the differences in study methodology. For example, one study found that only half of people who served sentences or SA were rearrested for a new offense. Okay, and less than 2% were rearrested for another or sexual assault within the first year of release. However, the study's data may be flawed because it doesn't account for the nature of post-release offense. Or no, guys, I don't know. Hey, Shauna B. Hi. Okay. Yeah, we're started talking about a new law that just passed the United States Senate. And since some of you are not from the United States in my chat right now, our Senate is comprised of two houses. I mean, our Congress, okay? Senate we have two per state as representatives, and then House of Representatives that have many, many more, depending on your state's population, supposed to represent the people. So all those together are Congress, congressional things. So it's past the Senate. It's being held, sort of reviewed in the House of Representatives right now, and it's trying to call tech companies like Facebook and X and Snapchat and Instagram and all those people, YouTube, trying to get some sort of measure to make the tech companies have responsibility for keeping children safe. My point is that kids lie. If they want to see something, if they want to get into a website, all they have to do is lie about it. All they have to do is lie about it. So I don't know. It's a step in the right direction, but to be honest with you, the way I'm thinking about it is the FCC, the Federal Communications Commission, is the people that they're the watchdogs over mainstream media and radio. So, when Howard Stern was fined so many times because he was saying the F word online, that was from the FCC. And the FCC can actually take away a broadcast license. So that makes sense. Sent over info on current standing as of May 2024's legislative data. Breaks it down from National Conference of State Legislators. Okay, I'm assuming you did that in Discord. Let me go over here. Yep. Oh, sorry. That was my phone. Oh, deceptive audio or visual media deep fakes. Thank you, buddy. Let me stop showing that. Let's see. Deepfake technology uses artificial intelligence to manipulate audio or video. Let me make this bigger for you. Okay. Audio or video to create a false but realistic video of people doing or saying things they did not actually do or say. For example, a person's face can be swapped with another's and lip syncing can be added. Machine learning and sophisticated technical tools have made deepfakes relatively easy to create and increasingly commonplace, creating an impetus for new legislation. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. I'm looking for deepfake Keanu Reeves. Oh, here we go. Let's look at this.
Are you coming along? Mama said not to be taking rides from strangers. This is the bus to school. I'm Forrest Gump. I'm Dorothy Harris. Well, now we ain't strangers anymore.
Just pausing here for copyright's sake. This is something that was supposed to be Keanu Reeves in here, but an AI deepfake.
Slate's taken. Take. Can't sit here.
And recollects, because I don't remember being born. But I do remember the first time I heard the sweetest voice in the
Oh, look
wide
at
world.
that.
You can sit here if you want.
I had never.
Oh, no, no, no. Yeah, that looks like Keanu Reeves. That's deepfake. That's an AI thing. Eee, Shauna, thanks so much for coming in. Yeah, it's just, I don't know, guys. We really need to do something, to moderate and to govern what's happening out there on the internet because, it's never been a good place, guys. Let's just be honest, okay? Never been a good place. When it was DARPA and they had just the small internet thing between colleges and military sites, the first transaction between two places was selling marijuana. So what are we gonna do? I don't know. I don't know. But I wanted to just put that out there as a thought, as maybe something that we can discuss later, because we all agree that something has to be done about the sextortion and about the luring of children, the grooming that happens online, and about the online bullying and all of that kind of stuff. But nobody I've seen has come up with any great answer. And so I just wanted to put that out there into the ether for us to think about. Anybody want to join me? I can drop a link. If not, I'm just going to log off because my goal is to actually, go live more often. Yes? You want to join me? Okay, I will, I will drop the link. There it is. I'll put it in here too. So I think in this community, we share true crime And, we do missing information and advocacy and whatnot, that it is an important thing for us to think about, and how we as people can actually be a part of the change with terms of service or regulating, legislating algorithms within these platforms. And, I'm going to put on my tinfoil hat and say that I think the only way to actually verify all this information would be somehow some kind of digital footprint, digital fingerprint, that's maybe a biometric thing. Our government knows little about technology, and how are they really supposed to make substantial legislative changes? Exactly, because even that thing, you need a palate cleanse. Um, yeah, it's like my thing is I've always said you can't legislate the many for the good of the few, because that doesn't work. And educating the many for the good of the few is kind of what we're going after right now. Have to go back and listen. Yes. I think Burden is going to join me, or maybe not. I might be wrong. But I did want to tell you, I don't know if you saw my community post, but I shared the opening ceremonies from the Olympics yesterday. And I was, giving both sides, you know, Christian conservatives and whatnot, thought one part was the opening ceremonies was the Last Supper, and they got all weird about it. They got offended. All right. And I could totally understand people getting offended at somebody mocking their religion. But the IOC, the International Olympics Committee, said, no, 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 no. We were trying to hearken back to Greece, where the Olympics started, and that was a feast of Dionysus, which was, it's a tapestry, it's a painting that they were referencing. We didn't know that. Regular people didn't know that. So we're going to default back to what we do know, and that was Last Supper. That's what it looked like. So because I was presenting all that, the my video was blocked. It wasn't just demonetized, it was blocked by the IOC. Let me show you. Here we go. Let me share my screen. There. Let's do this. Okay. So here we go. Here it is. The International Olympic Committee. It was blocked globally. That's ridiculous because I have a license for that. Okay, this part of the opening ceremony, they said they're just not monetizing it. But zut alors. I mean, I wasn't doing anything bad. I wasn't nasty. It wasn't mean. I wasn't saying mean things about, the blue guy or anything. But I just globally it was struck. So my response to that is not to holler at YouTube saying, hey, that's not fair, blah, blah, blah. I'm just editing out that part. So it'll be back up. You saw that post. I'm hopeful that change is coming your way in government. Yeah, me too, OG. Lots of IOC videos are blocked, to be honest. Even the BBC has only small rights. What? What? Hang on just a second. Is that you?
Yes, ma'am.
Hi.
Hi. How are you?
How are you?
Good.
My teen screen. It's a new one. Anyone is sick of your shit. How you doing? Okay, since you're not Tam, I'm gonna there. Now we're both avatars.
I love it. It's so sweet
That,
looking.
yeah, it's a hug grandma
It's a perfect. It's
thing.
perfect.
Okay, cool. So what are you thinking here? What's the idea? Do we have any?
Solution. I wouldn't say no, like no, but I do think that like what Washington State did, I feel they absolutely every single state has to do that. They have to do that. So you can't just do one. In my opinion, it can't just be one approach. This is first of all, it's way out of control. Um, it's discuss. I actually should look it up and get the number for you of how many uh, just going off photos, not even talking about if like the sextortion that happens or the bullying that leads, like none of that stuff, but just off of explicit photos of children that are uploaded every day. It's we're so behind. We're so behind. Um, I I am happy that anything's being done. The stagnant, not doing anything, kind of makes me
Mm-hmm.
start to like raise an eyebrow at the government. Like, what are we doing? Why are we not protecting our children? Why is this allowed? I, but
This is what
they're
what
starting.
what you're saying about states enacting these.
Mm.
Like I had this at the beginning of the stream. Is This was from 2022, so it's been almost 2 years. They were talking about how California called it the Age Appropriate Design Code Act, right?
Wait, who's that by?
Which
Who?
is
I'm sorry. Can you go back up to the top again real quick?
oh yeah, this was from
Gavin Newsom.
Stanford.
Newsom. Okay. Go
Yeah,
ahead. Sorry.
Gavin Newsom was the governor, passed it into law. So see, the thing is that this is a great idea,
Hmm.
and what they're saying is that to
I,
default to no, you can't come in, you know, children under the age of 18 could apply to any user of a website if the operator decides that offering that option is simpler than identifying the children who visit their website. And that's my thing is that kids will lie. You know, they'll if they want to go into a website, if they want to view something. Hi, Queen Bella. How are you, sweetheart?
so
Um,
with that, the best I could, because I was hearing you, and I'm like, there's got to be something. And so I found it. It's actually the same National Conference of State Legislators that
uh-huh.
I sent you, but I sent you a specific one with the states. So there's another one here in specific that says um, about the requirement of age, and that not only do they need the hold on, let me actually get back now that I opened it. Um,
You can go ahead and
they're
share
actually
it.
good. They're going to require. Okay, let me grab it on my PC. I'm all backwards, but that there actually has to be parental consent given as well. So not only does the child have to say yes, I'm however old. Okay, so right here, specifically, it's talking on Utah. Enacted the Utah Social Media Regulation Act requires social media company to verify the age of state residents and obtain the consent of a parent or guardian before a resident under a specific age may maintain or open an account. It also prohibits social media company from permitting a person to open an account if that person does not meet age requirements under state or federal law, limits the hours of access for certain users, subject to parental or guardian direction. Well, we know there's a lot of parents that'll say, "Oh, well, my child's mature enough to do this," when they shouldn't, but that's my opinion. And it finishes with, "It provides for a private rights of action." So it's saying it's going to require the guardian. From there, I kind of want to break it down one more level and see, does the guardian have to provide? Are they going to know the child's identity or the parent's identity? How do you prove, like, so kind of back to what you're saying, um, I would imagine that those answers should be out here, so that's kind of what I'm looking for.
Well, and
It's
that's You see, that's what I'm looking at because this thing that just passed Senate, that I was talking about, that is
Mhm.
now it hasn't been presented to the House yet, but what they're saying is that there's an argument because they're saying tech companies, you have to do something with your algorithm to make sure that it's not just a selection of, yeah, this is kid friendly or over 18 or whatever. You have to tighten up what you're presenting. And it could be something like, you can't get to anything. Hey, Teresa, hi, baby.
It's
It
almost
could
like
be that you
parental
can't get
controls, but from the
exactly. And
media. Yeah.
yeah, and that's what they're saying is that the critics of that are saying, well, there's parental controls. I mean, we could do something where the kids can't download anything until they have their parents' permission.
Mhm.
And that's because this is the Wild West, the WWW, Wild West Web, that it's not something that they have a good idea of how to lock down these things. And so Congress is trying to say, okay, tech companies, you guys have been relying on parents forever, you know, parental controls. Yay, we like
And they're
that and
failing.
all that
Yeah.
stuff. Right.
Yeah.
But, the thing is that there are so many harms that are happening to children, with the
Mhm.
sextortion and with being lured and groomed and with, being bullied and that sort of thing. That's not working with just parental. I mean, we can even use Sebastian Rogers' case as an example because Katie and Chris said, no, lockdown internet. He didn't have access to anything outside. He was not on the web. And then when he was at Seth's house, he did have access to other people in internet. So it's not a consistent thing if it's just left in the hand of parents. So I think government is looking at that and they're saying, okay, that's not working great. We've made some strides with parental controls and all that, but we need to step in and we need to make tech companies more responsible for what's going on and how they're feeding information to children. And that's, I think, where it gets real fuzzy.
Yeah. I found sorry, I'm listening and reading and then and that's why I went
Oh, that's
silent.
fine.
But
Yeah, that's fine.
so
Oh,
there's
okay,
two.
Prime. Thanks for being a member. 8 months. God, is that long? Crying out loud. Go ahead. I'm
I'm
sorry.
opening them right now. Persona. It's what is this? Wow, I don't know. There's lots of pop-ups. Holy moly. Good grief. Ah, they're everywhere. The state of age verification. What is this thing? Hang on 1 second. Hi there, welcome. Can you help me? No. Can you get off my screen? That will help. Go
Hmm.
away.
You're talking to the interwebs. Okay.
Yeah. It's like, stop. I can't read your page if you're in my way. So it says
Mm,
regulators are placing increased scrutiny on social media sites to protect minors, verify ages, learn how to implement an age verification system. So I'm wondering if we look into this. I'm going to send it to you and we can maybe look together. I don't want to send you something that doesn't have any info. Um,
okay.
but I do want to try to find this answer that we're looking into. This says, in particular, young people are highly engaged on social media platform and often at the forefront of new and emerging sites. For example, 2022 Pew Research Center survey showed that TikTok, newest social media platform, most popular social media app among teens between 13 and 17. And 67% of teens use it, while only 32% use Facebook, which is down from 71%. Whew. And let me see,
Yeah,
because it did.
Facebook's kind of for boomers now, right?
I know. I was like, oh man, okay.
Yeah.
So for this one, increase it talks about for teens between the age of 13 and 15, TikTok only shows content created by other teens under 16 in the For You feed and defaults teen accounts under the age of 16 into private. I didn't know that. Did you know that? I
No,
didn't
I
know that.
stay as far away from TikTok as I possibly can.
Yeah, but
I
I do
find it
too.
scary.
I don't go on it often, but I've already made the mistake of giving the permission to, okay, go ahead, see all my life, take, look at my face and
Right.
get all the dimensions.
Yeah.
I've already agreed. So, uh, speaking of, here, let me send this. I'm going to send it right here in the private chat to you.
Okay.
It's the one I'm skimming now. There's also another one, Tech Watchdog, and that one is about the fear social media regulation bill could harm minors' privacy. So, but right now, the one I sent you is to see if we can find what my question was is how are they going
Mm,
to
that's okay.
get verification? How will social media
Age
verify
verification.
the
Yes.
parental consent for minors to use social media? So that's
Right.
what I asked.
Placing increased scrutiny on social media sites to protect minors and verify ages. So that's persona. Let's look at that. Whoa. That
Did you
was
get
fast.
pop-ups?
No.
No.
Um,
Oh,
because when I clicked it, it scrolled down instead of just jumping to it. Content
yep.
created by other teens under 16 and for you. Okay, this is what you were.
Mhm.
Meta
Yep.
made changes to its algorithm to ensure teens and children on Facebook and Insta are not shown content that contains harmful images, videos, and text, such as drug related or self harm. Ensuring the age appropriate experience, in addition to protecting children from explicit harm, the public and lawmakers are increasingly focused on pushing social media sites to design and deliver age appropriate experiences for children. Notably, in late 2023, more than 30 states filed a federal lawsuit against Meta.
Yeah.
That's the parent company for Facebook, alleging that the site is designed to be addictive, to be addictive to young users. In response, many social platforms have created separate platforms or experiences for younger users. YouTube created YouTube Kids, a separate kid-friendly version. Also disables its autoplay feature, which some considered addictive for children under a certain age.
Hmm.
And TikTok sets daily screen time limits to 60 minutes, restricts push notifications at night, and prohibits live content among teen users. Hmm.
So I was just watching. Listen, I don't know. That's kind of interesting. I don't know what it's doing right now for Facebook, and like if it knows I'm not a child or what. But so last night, I happened to find my way. All I've ever seen of like the vertical, I hate it first of all, but it's like watching Tracy chasing, and so I know that a lot of trolls come in, but I never understood why or what or what. Well, last night was the first time I ended up in a live. Like I went from watching a short, and then all of a sudden I was like in a live one, and I'm like, "What is this?" No, I'm not interested. And I scrolled up to go to the next one, I guess, and it just was a whole line of people that were live, and it happened to be like 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock, and there was
Yeah.
people doing like cards, tarot cards, but dressed up in like black with black wings and stuff. And then what was the other thing? I don't remember. Then what end I'll tell you in the middle part, that's what matters. But the end, I somehow found this bad place where it looked like a woman in India was having somebody do some act on her. And I'm like, "What is this? And why is this on a live on YouTube? Are you kidding? I get in trouble for a monkey saving a kitten and you've got this? What is happening?" So then I watch it because I'm just kind of so perplexed by this, and I'm reading the chat and people are like saying it's fake. And then it gets graphic or like it looks like she has blood on her hands. She like stops and like pulls her dress up or something. And then I'm like, what is going on? I'm getting traumatized. So then I slip to the next one And it's another person from India, same kind of thing. I got stuck in this weird chain of it, and then I ended up on a woman that had a little girl wearing a midriff top, like you could see her waist, and a little skirt. Adorable. She let the weirdo in chat who wanted to know how old her daughter was know she was 4, and she had like a little butterfly ring that she had tucked in the back of her skirt, and her mom was having her turn around and shake. And I got infuriated. I was like losing. I'm like, I'm gonna report this. Get your daughter off of here. And so, like, and someone came in chat and they go, "Ma'am, what is happening in this chat? Do you realize you have pedos in your chat looking at your little girl?" She read it out loud and completely it didn't. She didn't care at all. And then the little girl left, and she kept calling to her to come back in the room. Um, and then someone said, "Can I give you money? Do you need money?" And she said, "Yes." And so I'm like, "Okay, I don't know what's happening here." They all were from India, and I don't know why that's allowed on YouTube. And I don't know if it's because they know I'm not a minor, but if that is available to minors, what? But in that just,
You're in that algorithm now.
but it's not a good one. Don't ever get there. But I don't know how
You
I
know,
got there
but
because
the
go ahead.
thing is, like, when I watch Chasing or
Mhm.
Savage when they're doing their vertical streams, from their phone, which YouTube is really pushing that.
Yeah,
If you do vertical streams or videos, they're going to, push it up in the algorithm. Hi, Green. Hi. And the thing is, like, because there's a little tiny chat box, and I'm used to being able to scroll up to see what's being said in chat, but you really can't do that very well if you're on a phone. It's in a vertical format. And so what ends up happening is when I try to scroll through chat, I go to the next, like you were, the next live stream, and then I have to go back. And so I don't know.
well, this is the thing I'm
Some of
not
these women
understanding.
are being trafficked.
Yeah,
I report all the videos. It's common in certain countries. Yeah.
that's what I was saying to my boyfriend. I'm, like,
Streaming
yelling to
on
him,
YouTube.
and I'm like, "What time is it in India? Like, is this, like, sexing hour? Like, I don't get it." And then, I'm like, I don't know how I got and so the video that was before that, this is where I was first gonna go with this whole conversation, was is a young boy, maybe 12, and he was very theatrical, and he was grifting in a way, like, at least it wasn't children or missing people or anything like that. Um, but he was saying, like, "If come on, let's see if you guys can get me to 3,000,000. Let's see if we can get to 3,000,000. I know you guys can do it. Come on. Anybody that gives a super chat, you get a shout out. You get a shout out if you give a super chat." And then he just would into the next thing, and he's like, "For $50, I'll jump in my pool again." And it was obviously nighttime. He's like, "I'll jump in my pool, $50. Anyone gets $50, I'll jump in the pool again." And whatever. It just pretty much saying different kind of challenges he would do for a certain amount of money. And his theatrics were wild. And I was so conflicted because I could see a type of, and it's hard to say work ethic, but a
Uh-huh.
a challenge presented to him that he was striving for. They talked about another creator. I don't know them. I guess they said that person is a legend. He is one of the best streamers. And so it's a compliment that people are calling you him. And he said, "That's great, but I'm gonna be bigger than him. I'm gonna be better. You wait and see. You wait and see." And like he's coined phrases like oogala boogala. And
Uh-huh.
anyways, I can't even count. He made within 2 payments, he got a $250 payment and a $300 payment, um, followed by much more. I can't imagine how much he made. What my point is I see a lot of good in that, but I'm also seeing the fact that numbers are running these children's minds. It cannot be healthy. It just can't be when that's everything that their whole lives revolve around. How many likes? And that's what he was saying too, like, "Get me to 3,000 likes and I'll run around the corner with a bat," because he said that he saw somebody outside. And so, anyways, that's where I was, and I watched it just trying to understand: Am I is like what's happening to our young children growing up in this kind of mentality online when it's all about the click, the view, the number.
Well,
Like
the huge creator that's having all kinds of drama and stuff surrounding him now. I'm going to call him Mr. Yeast, because I don't want another one of my
oh
streams
yes,
to
yes,
be
yes, yes, yes.
taken
All right.
down.
Mhm.
Zut alors. Yeah, I just watched a video this morning where they were saying that that sort of it's a marketing technique. The
Mhm.
little boy was saying, drop 50 and I'll go in the pool again or whatever. But this big creator was saying, for everybody that buys one of my t-shirts, which are like $42, you're going to get a chance to win $100.
Mhm.
Or if you buy the candy bar, then you're going to get a chance for that. And that's actually, according to this video, not legal, because
With
if they sold 50,000 t-shirts, which evidently at one time they did, because of what he's saying,
Mhm.
if you buy this, then you get entered into this drawing to win, $100 or $1,000 or whatever. And so I'm with you. I mean, what are we teaching our kids?
Mhm. Yeah, so marketing is a great way. That's exact I explained it to my boyfriend that it felt like I was at a fair where they were telling me that they'll get if for $5 more, they will give me an extra 20 rings to try to win that goldfish or, extra shots with the basketball. Try to sink it. You know what? If you sink it, even though it's only supposed to be the small, I'll give you the biggest one up there on the wall. You see that one? It's all yours. And I'll give you extra balls, extra shots. You can get it. Like that's what it felt like.
Mhm.
Like I'm being like bamboozled.
Yeah,
But
those
you're getting
quote
something.
in-game purchases.
Yeah. It
Whenever
was
I download a game or something, it says
mhm.
in-game purchases. And that's the thing, I run out of my 20 free credits, but then I could buy another 2,000 credits for 19.99,
You know who does that?
that kind of thing.
My boyfriend. It makes me
Yeah.
so mad. I'm like, "Would you wait? It's free." And he's like, "Yeah, but," and I'm like, "Just earn your way there." He doesn't wanna earn his way, he wants to pay his way. But he works hard and he said that's his release, so it's his he can, But yeah, I
No,
feel the, like, waste of money thing, and I'm like, "What are we doing?"
well, and that's the whole thing because, that's how the games or the tragedy pimps or whatever, that's how they get more money, and I can't say that everybody who follows XYZ, is a dingbat for giving them money because it's an exchange of some sort. Like your boyfriend says, well, I work hard and this is my release. And
Mhm.
if people are pouring money onto a quote tragedy pimp or someone who's grifting or whatever, the thing is that they are they're not being forced into this. They may be
Right.
being coerced into it,
Yeah.
by the thing of I'll give you a shout out if you do this, that, or the other thing. But
I still have a bias that I don't think that it should be done when it is concerning victims, crimes, missing, any of that. That's just me. But when that's like, go ahead, grift away if you want when you're doing that, like that you'll do a challenge. I do worry a little bit because it's not super dangerous, right? It's not like he's doing any wildly dangerous that you could see like, oh, this is going to be bad no matter what. Um,
right.
but he had said he was going to jump in the pool and do a front flip. As he was running there, he changed his mind and just jumped in. And then he gets out and he goes, $5, I'll do a flip. Like he realized on his run, nah, I could get money for that front flip. I ain't giving it for free. And I'm like, wow, I just wow to think like that young. But then he upped it to a backflip. But he admitted he didn't even know if he could do a front flip. So my concern then went to he could crack his skull on the cement doing this. Like, it's not a guarantee that it's dangerous, but it could be. Um, as opposed to like kind of like Jake Paul and some of the stuff that I get it's a thing, and they get a little older and they all move into a home together, which falls in what is it called? M7? Is that right? Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
I might be
Talking
wrong with
about
the name
algorithm
of.
rating.
No, well, yes, but no. Brain fart. Hang on, let me look it up. It's where originally two sisters had moved in, like they were doing videos together. They ended up moving into a house with other creators. It's like a thing. The homes are where they typically end up doing a lot of their filming together, so they can
Oh,
collab with.
kind of like a Big Brother, but with creators sort of thing.
Yeah, well, they don't do the Big Brothery part of it. They do. They just kind of do all of their content together and live together. I'm really. Hang on a second. What I call it M7. I don't know if that's right. Let's see. Route M7. My Google doesn't know what I'm talking about. TikTok is where. Anyways, they were talking about it on a video. The one sister had come home, and what happened is there was like a change in the other one where she ended up not even telling her parents that she was going to get married. Um, she also didn't come home for the funeral for her grandfather, like things that are just not her. And so they feel that she is being controlled by the person who is ultimately, I suppose, the one that's maybe got the house in their name. The dancers, yes, yes,
The
yes.
dancers, okay.
You're, I'm glad someone has an idea what I'm talking about. I'm sorry, I'm failing on it. But it shows that the progression of like what this young boy is doing falls in line of that where those dancers are at. Um, eh, I mean, depending how young they are when they get in there too. I'm sure you saw Spudler's recent video. Yeah, I think you commented right about the
Yeah.
children. Yeah,
Hmm.
that's a thing that a lot of I have an issue with that and struggle because it's a parent's right to decide. It all comes back to the same thing. Like it's the parent's right to decide, but some parents don't want to protect their child. They want money. They want a bigger home. They don't think there's anything wrong in it. But in my opinion, you are exploiting your child. You don't know. They're not
Like
able to give you permission.
that whole 8 passengers thing,
Yeah. Hmm.
and all those mommy vlogs and whatnot that on one side you look at it and you say, yeah, they're exploiting their children. And, like the 8 passengers was out there and putting all their kids nasty out there, talking about all the things.
It's so
And
embarrassing.
I'm
Like, would
not,
we want that?
I
Like
would
that's not
want
fair.
that.
So look at OG. London girl says that. Yeah.
They're slowly speaking about the impact of being filmed for all their lives without consent and
Hmm.
the effects on their mental health. Exactly. And going back to the current true crime stuff that we're dealing with, is people
Hmm.
keep saying when Sebastian Rogers, when he comes home or whatever, hopefully, if he looks up this stuff or Summer Wells brothers or Summer Wells herself, if they start looking up information on themselves to see all this stuff that was put out there about them and how many of these kids that are being cyberbullied because of their presence on social media. It isn't just I'm being bullied at school. It's I'm being bullied online.
Yeah.
Whereas they want to put their fun pizza party for their birthday online and vlog that, but then they get people coming in and attacking them for that. And what we're talking about here, the kids that have absolutely no say in it because the parents are using them. And in their teenage years, they say they didn't give consent and were bullied and know their images are online forever. Exactly.
It's that's and also they don't they just think like that's the style and that dancers do wear, tighter and smaller clothing and whatnot. And so you would think what's the difference, right? It's dance attire of any age, but what's happening are these disgusting predators are watching them and saving the videos and taking screenshots like when they're doing a leg kick or whatever, a split. And then they're putting them in these groups and this is disgusting. And to
Well,
me, like that is God.
oh no, sorry. YouTube, I didn't mean to interrupt, but YouTube had that thing where there used to be comments on kid videos with kids, right? And now they don't allow that. If it's in the YouTube Kids community, there's no comments allowed because the predators were doing timestamps in the comments, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
So I think,
That's I totally get the well, two parts. I get the that children are not the product for social media. Agreed. It's bad enough that any humans are the product, but obviously, I mean, I think people are finally realizing that, like, if something's free, then you're the product. But so I
right?
agree with that about that one. I hope they all change soon. Yeah. Yes. 7M TikTok cult. Yeah. Okay. I said M7, didn't I?
Yeah.
Well, I'm dyslexic. It's
Y-
okay. Thank you so
Yeah,
much,
I just
Six.
I don't follow that. I rely on people like you know, from my brain.
Oh my goodness. Well, and me not covering stuff. I don't know. I just hear these things, but the names of stuff aren't actually staying connected in my brain. I just get the information. So I'm doing it a service myself for sure with that as well. Netflix, yeah, on 7M. Yeah, yeah. And it's, I mean, who even knows what happens with, there's quite a few of them that do that kind of scenario where they all go and they live in a home together and film and whatnot. But um, I was saying something about the children though. I can't remember what my last thought was before that.
Squirrel.
Um, for sure, squirrel. uh, hmm. I don't know. Maybe we'll
There's
mention it
nothing.
again and I'll remember.
We're just normalizing it. Exactly. There's a Netflix film on the 7M, I think. Okay. Um, yeah, so the point is though that I think we're finally getting to a place in society and in our governing bodies, whether it's state, whether it's the tech companies or whether it's federal government, that they're realizing that, you know, the internet is just way out there. It's way too far out there, you know, and I haven't even seen anything trying to touch dark web. I don't think they can.
Oh, that's a
Modern
mess.
version of
Oh.
the boy band model.
Well, okay. So I've been meaning to do obviously internet safety stuff. There's so much in what stop. There's so much material, information, resources that I try to figure out like how can I break this down and then how would it even hold? And it sucks because unfortunately it doesn't get people's attention until after it's already happened. When it's like we're trying it kind of like your stream right now. We're trying to discuss something to help. There is an issue, but a lot of people tend to say, kind of like the um, if you're driving down the road and there's a whole lot of cars there, you got a lot of traffic. You know what I mean? Did a lot of people didn't think that was happening in America, so they would always say, "Ah, yeah, but that doesn't happen here." Yeah, it does. It absolutely does. Uh, you can't keep turning a blind eye to it. I know that that's not what we want to happen, but just ignoring it doesn't mean it isn't happening. It's happening, but you aren't actually being any type of help or benefit. If you actually look into it, educate yourself, and possibly find any kind of resource. What can we do as the public? What are the signs? Are there any ways we can see this while we're out in public by behavior of children or what have you? Like, if there's any way as the general public we can help. And now they do. Like, we've got the line that if you think there's something going on with a child, you got a number you can report it, put the zip in. And so I'm really thankful that we're coming along with that too. But
Mm-hmm.
hang on, I was just reading. It's always hard to put. Yes, exactly right, Shauna. Yeah,
Yeah,
the
it can't
dark
put
web
the
hole.
toothpaste
Mm-mm.
back. Yeah.
Nothing good there. Right, right. So, because here's the thing. As I was reading the different information, and there's a lot of it, it was talking about like how these predators do what they do, and they meet the children on, say, Facebook, but then they direct them to somewhere that will be end-to-end encryption. So I believe it's called Orion. Don't quote me, or Onion, maybe Onion. And they have them go there, and then get from there. That is what they use to then get on. Oh, what is it? Telegram is one of them.
Telegram. Ooh.
Yes, and
Yeah.
so they're directing. Discord was, not that it's good now, but Discord was huge problem. And as they tried to work with Discord, Discord wasn't budget. They would like hold their ground to not give any information, to not help the authorities with anything. Then they're like, no, you need to make sure that people are of age if there's going to be certain kind of content that's going to be in this. You need to do these things. And Discord, like, they really had to be forced to do anything. But that was a bad area for it. And to the point, I mean, it still is, but yeah, to the point they would have Discord specifically, you had to be 17 or younger. And in order to get into it, you had to give a photo of yourself. Well, there you go. You're already entrapped. It was so, I don't know. It's awful to see the things that they do, but if you understand at least what's been investigated and understood by professionals, it can help us to try to protect the children. And that's what's so frustrating is you, I, some others, we see what's been happening and we want to try to see if there's any way we can help with the protection. And there's a lot of people that they'd rather wait till the story has happened and then sensationalize, but never give any way to get resources if you've been a victim of it. If you have a loved one that was a victim, if you see anything and you can report it to try to help save somebody to get out of that situation. So I think there's people that just want to know about the problem, and then there's people that want to try to step up and see if they can be any solution. So I will say
Well, you know,
I thank you for doing the stream.
well, I actually I have some, maybe we can get together because I have internet safety stuff that I want to do, and I want to do the crime victims. I have a series on that, but I'm a wiener. I can't do it by myself.
Well, I
OG
have a ton
London girl.
of info too. I just need someone like you that's like, maybe are you better than that than me? Of like, man, I try to limit it. Like, here's a chunk. We're gonna focus on this, and so it's small
Right.
sizes because it's too much. I get overwhelmed reading it. There's no way anybody else is gonna want to consume it in a large package. And so to break it down, I then am like, okay, I need to take a break. And every time I go back to it, the same thing happens. So if you
Yeah,
think,
it's the rabbit hole syndrome. Yeah.
yeah,
That you just keep going deeper and deeper and deeper, and this is important
yeah,
and that needs to be out there.
yeah.
And so what happens with me is I get all this information that I've compiled and all this research and everything, and I call it creator's constipation because I just get so backed up that nothing's happening. You know?
Oh no, we need somebody that help us break because that's me. The same.
Well,
I have so
I'm
many folders of data and research and stuff, and I don't even know how to begin.
Well, I've made a commitment to myself that I have these hundreds and thousands of things that I want to put out, and some of them are tinfoil hat weirdness, and other things are, just life stuff, and some are mental health things, just, the stuff that I cover normally. So I've made a commitment to myself that I'm going to go live every day, and whether I have, 4 or 10 people in here or whatever, people can watch on replay. But I just feel like I want to share this stuff with everybody, with the honey bunnies, that kind of thing. So I'm just gonna do it. Whether it's good or not, it's gonna be out there. And OG London Girl, no, it hasn't been banned by our government yet. They've just been saber rattling. Sadly, none of the owners of these sites want change as it affects their bottom line. Europe has been fighting with Facebook for years on this topic. Exactly. And here's the thing. I mean, it feels like David and Goliath because, Facebook or YouTube or Instagram or whoever, they're this huge, massive Leviathan that has all the power. And, you know, if something happens to them, then there's this whole trickle down effect that's going to affect politicians and, people that advertise with them and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So the thing is that in order to stop it, we have to be invested enough in the well-being of everybody. Hey, Hakoop, Hakoop, that we need to, we need to hold our legislatures to, yes, I'm proud of you guys for making this step and for trying to get through that and, to make it a whole big thing. But there are people that are saying, like that article I was reading, that okay, it's not just going to affect children, it's going to affect adults too. Adults are going to be inconvenienced or something because they have to go through this, that, and the third, in order to get to their favorite nasty website or, gambling website or their vape website or whatever, that it's going to be some sort of inconvenience for the adults as well.
Yeah,
But
that's
the
the problem in making humans your product. That is such a problem. Like that is like the fact that they are profiting off of humans at any expense, even at the expense of their lives, at the expense of their safety, their finances, the list goes on. To them, that they got a bottom line. They've got to grow. They need. It's really bad. It's really bad, and that is, I think, where this tug and pull is happening, is the fact that we are the product, and
yes,
so they'll be affected if they put our safety, our well-being, our mental health, our anything in consideration. And it's BS in my opinion. And I don't but again, I've got a strange ethical line, and so I wouldn't no, nope. That's the no.
yeah.
Just for me it's a
Well,
no.
what I was going to say is, and this is kind of on topic and sort of not, but I just started watching Dexter. Yeah, I'm slow on the uptake, but anyway, there was a line in this thing where they were looking for this missing guy, right? Looking for the missing guy, and they're like, "Well, we know where he is, let's go get him and whatnot." And then the line in the show was basically that the headline of murder is going to sell more than the headline of, you know, kidnap victim was rescued. And so there's that idea of if it bleeds, it leads. That I hope to God that none of our law enforcement have anybody saying, it's more traffic, it's more newsworthy or whatever, if it's something absolutely horrendous, when we can actually take steps to prevent the horrendous thing. And to me it's like the people who said, oh, pshaw, Jeffrey Epstein isn't doing all that stuff. You guys are just out there in la la land. That couldn't be happening. And then witness after witness after witness has come forward saying, yeah, it's true. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, it's true. And all this trafficking stuff was happening and all these minors were being abused and all that stuff. But, we have to get to a point where we realize that we can't poo-poo it. We can't sweep it under the rug. It's not something that if we ignore it, it's going to go away.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd rather be inconvenienced than have children harmed. Exactly.
Yeah. But it's the same to me, like the much smaller scale is seeing like the different thumbnails that some of the, we'll say true crime, you know what I mean, put, where it's pointing arrows at what children or certain areas. It's saying, it's making claims of something and then maybe putting a question mark. Yeah, it's the words that bring people. Like I've always
It's
tried
okay.
to be respectful in
Yeah.
what I'm saying and how I'm wording it, but the respectful way of putting it isn't the most eye-grabbing, catching, captivating, like intriguing. Oh my gosh, what that happened? And obviously, a big part of getting someone to even click on your video is a title and a thumbnail. And so that's very true. But and then the fact, not only are they willing to put those kind of thumbnails and titles, but we watch the creators have that mindset where they put the regards of the well-being of people, whether it be of victims. I'm going with victims, not even just people that are in crisis, below the priority for a little money or fame. It's so if
Hmm.
you're going to get your channel to 100K before the end of the year, um, yeah, it's worth it. Though it's a little harm to those people. I don't know those people. It doesn't affect me. I'm just going to keep doing it because of the benefit for me. So like we watch it every day. We watch it every day in our communities that we see on YouTube. It's just a small scale of what these big social media companies don't want to give up. It's a And again, then you fall in
Well, and
that ethical thing. How do they
well,
draw the
and that
line on
and
it?
that's the thing because YouTube has this overreaching terms of service. What's not acceptable. And the thing is that you can report till you are blue in the face, a channel that's circumventing or a channel that is bannivating or a channel that is, doing things against community guidelines, making it seem like there's harm being done to victims or to their families or to children. And, even though it seems like it's a community guideline, it's just they're not doing anything in the way. And okay, YouTube, I'm probably going to be off the air tomorrow, so okay. But I think it's because that those people get more viewers. If they get 1,400 in a live stream and they get another 10,000 views after that, with that clickbait, with that lascivious stuff, YouTube's making money off of that. They're running ads on it. They're getting money from their ad people, and they get their cut of super chats, super stickers, and the whole 9 yards. So, what kind of motivation does YouTube have to actually enforce or support their terms of service when
Mhm.
they're actually benefiting from it too?
Mhm. Yep. Because it all comes down to engagement, and so even if it's people in the chat commenting saying, "No, I don't agree. This is terrible," and like that's the other thing I see is the emotional manipulation. Even though I've been accused of that before, but the emotional manipulation of putting, for example, Maddie Soto's mother. Is she? Did she know? Should she be arrested or charged? And it's like, you know how everybody feels about, like, I haven't seen anybody be like, Yeah, that's fine. A mom is allowed to let their daughter go sleep in the room in bed with the ex-boyfriend. You know what I mean? So you know your audience, which is mainly women, you know that they're infuriated, disgusted. Some actually are triggered psychologically due to their past traumas, being
Mm-hmm.
the high number of us that have experienced that, essay. So, you know it's an emotionally charged topic, and so you that's your coverage, even though there's no updates, nothing new. We already know what everyone's opinion is, but you do it because you know you're gonna get a lot of people viewing, and they are charged emotionally. They are gonna be commenting their opinions. You know what I mean? It's like the engagement's gonna be high, and you go for it. I don't know. I
Mm-hmm.
see these things lately, and I'm like, I don't, I couldn't, I can't. And yeah, the fact that YouTube, they love it. Yes, engagement. People like this. We're gonna keep pushing this out. And you're absolutely right.
Yes.
There's no incentive for them to put a stop to that bad behavior, or inappropriate or ethically questionable or whatever, when they are benefiting as the whole. It's a problem. Again, it just goes back to the fact like when humans are your product, like this is not. It's a really bad position we ended up in. I remember everyone, we all thought social media was so great, but as you're watching things unfold, you see the issues that we now are facing and kind of getting an idea of how bad this really could go if it's not
Mm-hmm.
slowed down. I don't know about ever stopping it, but at least slowed down, right?
Well, and there's it seems like your channel and my channel and some others that are out there that are firmly against that type of exploitation is what it turns out to be. That we are such a tiny, tiny voice, yelling against this ocean of greed. I don't know how else to put it.
Yeah.
And it's not just tragedy pimps. I mean, because there are tragedy pimps that call out tragedy pimps, to use the YouTube lingo. The thing is, if anything is traumatic, I mean, for crying out loud, the News Nation are tragedy pimps, if that's what you boil it down to. I don't I don't see there's any problem making money on a platform as long as you do it ethically and with respect. Someone's building a new darker platform for streaming. Well, yeah, it Rumble, people say, "Oh, I'm going to go to Rumble," because basically that's a no holds barred and they can just say whatever they want. Yeah. YouTube makes so much money. Yes, social network. It's got Lynn from Checkmate Humanity in it. And they were calling out the algorithm and how it's specifically targeting you to get you addicted, to suck you into what you want by showing you more content that you had looked at before by using recommendations. It's an excellent film. And like I said, Lynn from Checkmate Humanity was in that. I watch a social network documentary film every 6 months. It really explains the hook of social media and its deliberate manipulation. You're about to say yes, news. It's a thin line. It is a thin line, and that's the problem that we have now is that everything is so gray. Everything is so gray for everything that individuals that have a firm belief and conviction about something, for them to voice their opinion, then they're called haters or, they're labeled extremists or whatever. And I'd like to see it where we as humanity can understand that both things can be true. Two things can be true at the same time.
Oh yeah. Well, and then like another one is you talked about it being so gray. I mean, there's even the attempt from Upchurch, right, of something that's you clearly it's slander, defamation. But he claimed it was a, oh, how did he word it? Uh, entertainment? Shoot, what did he call it? It was a weird term that he used to describe like what YouTube is, the
I just
video.
listened to Rabbit was reading about the Ickadmill lawsuit and
Yeah.
what they were saying about Ickadmill and Upchurch's lawsuit. And I know what you're talking about, where it's like the creators to say, in my opinion, or allegedly, or this is just entertainment. That they think they can get away with saying any and everything under the sun.
Yeah, I'm trying to look it up and see if I can find that part. The Ryan had put up a video, oh goodness, 4 days ago, 6 days ago, and it doesn't say that it's even talking about the Kylie Rodney, this lawsuit, anything. It's actually he titled it "Make America Realistic Again," episode 2. So episode 2. That's what I think. I want to find the wording he used, but when he said it, I was like, "What? That's what you're going with?" He is trying to say that not just it was an opinion, or he talks about theorizing, right? And like, this is a platform where you're supposed to give your opinion, but when I give my opinion, that's wrong. Don't give my opinion. And like, however he was twisting it, I was just like, whoa, this is why people end up all scrambled and no one can make a clear cut. So then when I heard Rabbit give the update, I was glad that whatever garbage he tried to ramble, at least in the write up on the documents, the judge didn't go for. But to hear him just speaking on his platform and how he describes it, I just can't with the attempt to, in my opinion, not be a human that puts other humans as a priority. That's it. They don't need to be a bigger priority, but they've got to be some priority. The disregard for other humans is just damaging so many people, in my opinion. What I'm seeing, there's just a massive disregard. Even, it's a conversation I have with my boyfriend frequently. He's not one that's like sensitive or gentle or whatever he says he wants, and if that's that other person, oh well, I'm sorry about that. That's how they feel. Isn't my issue. No, that's not my issue. And I'm like, yeah, but if you know something's like hurtful, why say it? He's like, well, why do I have to change my way of speaking for other people that I don't even know these people? And I'm like, is your vocabulary that limited that you just got to use that word? You can't find any other word to put in there? And so I've had these conversations with, within my own home. So it just goes to larger
Well,
scales.
it
Go ahead.
does, and it boils down to the First Amendment of the United States, and I'm not saying that we need a constitutional overhaul, but from the time that it was written by a bunch of old white guys who were under the rule of a monarchy, where if you said King George is, a fat wanker, you could be killed. You could be imprisoned and even killed for being seditious or traitorous or something along that line. And so our Constitution was written under under the umbrella of trying to get out from under the rule of a monarchy, whereas the laws could be changed at a whim because the king wanted it to be. So the drafters of our Constitution and our Declaration of Independence were saying we want a place where people can say what they need to say. If we thought that being taxed for the tea that we're receiving, we're buying from England, and then they're going to tax us on it again. If this thing is wrong, that we should have the liberty to speak out and say this is not right. that for our voices to be heard. And it's being taken now that we have the internet and it's literally worldwide and whatnot, that people are saying, well, it's my First Amendment right to say whatever I want to say. And now the courts and the laws are catching up saying, well, no, because if what you're saying is essentially untrue, like yesterday I covered the TikTok tarot twit and the lawsuit that the history professor brought against her for defamation because it was, the tarot twit made some really horrendous allegations that she, within herself, within her mind and her body, felt were true because her cards and her spirit guides told her that these things were right. And she had the First Amendment, ability of free speech to say these things, that what you're saying is taking no consideration into the fact that number one, it's being broadcast to thousands of people, perhaps millions, depending on if it goes viral or not. And the fact that these things are inherently false. There's nothing empirical that shows what you're saying is true. Empirical evidence, of course, is that which you can see, you can look, you can hold, you can feel, that sort of thing. There's no empirical proof that what you're saying is true. And the third part of that is that a lot of, like the history professor from the University of Idaho, a lot of her position and her standing within the faculty there, within the community there, has to do with her character. It has to do, is she trustworthy? Is she honest? Is she going to, teach our children correctly? That's why you
Right.
love the French. They stand on business. Some business. No one's perfect. Our forefathers would have never imagined the internet. No, they didn't. Did you know, and this is like stupid trivia stuff that grandma spouts that nobody really cares about, but I'm going to tell you anyway, that as of like, I think it was 1865, don't quote me on the exact date, but round about the 1860s, the patent office was going to close because they thought that everything that would be designed, new innovations, had already happened. So they were just going to close the patent office.
Wowie. That's a lot of stuff that
Yeah.
would have never been.
And do
No,
you
I
know
didn't.
that there are 6,000 patents right now today that are being held as secret?
Hmm. Well, that's nice.
6,000 patents, designs for something. I mean, like Tesla created the death ray and free electricity. So I'm thinking stuff like that's probably being held, you know?
Yeah,
Still in laws of complex.
I don't know. I can't help but to go to the. I don't know if we're allowed. I think so. I think we could say this on here. Cancer. Like, how long, or even HIV. There's been how long people have been working on something to either prevent it or to cure it. Just can't ever understand that part of how. I feel like it has been, and it's just not being released because
It
again,
has
then it goes to
been.
big pharma, and big pharma is they won't make money if people
Exactly,
aren't sick.
because there's corporations out there that are profiting off of
See,
disease, they're
yeah,
profiting off of mental health, they're profiting off of all that stuff, and they don't want it to stop. That's why I want politicians to have to wear NASCAR style jumpsuits that have labels of their sponsors on them. So we can know who is actually padding and paying off in the lobbyists
mm,
all of our politicians, because I've seen so many videos of things like they can break apart cancer cells using sound waves. They can
mhm.
actually target it. There's gene splicing technology, whether it's nanobots or whether it's actual DNA, where scientists or doctors can go in and alter the structure of cancer within your body and have your own body's immune system recognize it, fight it off. But
Hmm.
is that going to pay as much as all the chemotherapy and radiation, the MRI tests and PET scans and all the other stuff? No.
It's
So,
that it's all the same dang thing. It all comes in circles right back to the same thing. That it doesn't our well-being, humanity is not more important than finance or growth in a company, which ultimately results in finance. It's a sick way to be. It really is sick.
it is. I think we've kind of slipped into my tinfoil hat stuff. You know, the weird shit that grandma talks about.
No, I think that it all does still connect, because how are we going to change and help with what's happening online with internet safety for we'll say specific minors when you're up against a system that's been running this way and the priority is not the best interest for humans or for children. And so
Mm-mm.
it's no easy task. And obviously, the more people that aren't on board and are turning a blind eye and are, whatnot, or those that are in agreement, right? If they feel like too much of their rights are being taken away, like again, inconvenience for adults by trying to protect children. Get out of here. Like, no, I don't. I'm sorry. I don't want to
Right.
sit next to you. If you're that kind of
Yeah.
person, I'm good. You can go over there or something, or I'll leave. It's good. Like,
Exactly. Exactly. There's always, always, always going to be nasty, skeevy, porny kind of things that are going to be found. I
Mhm.
mean, way back when, before there were movies, there were, specific back sections of bookstores where people could get, the Draw Me Like Your French Girls stuff. So it's nothing new, and it's not going to go away. It's not like all of a sudden everybody's going to go, oh no, we don't want to do that.
Mhm.
But at the same time, I think what our legislature is trying to catch up to is protecting the people that shouldn't be accessing that. Oh, I have to.
Mhm.
Hey, Steph B. Hi, baby.
Oh,
Also, cars can run on water, but you'll save that for a Grandma Tinfoil Hat session. Check this out. The prohibition that happened in the United States in the 1930s, we went 13 years where people could not buy or sell alcoholic beverages. Of course, we know that one really well. But the whole thing behind that was not morality, y'all. It was because people were realizing that when they fermented this stuff into alcohol, they could run vehicles on it. They could run vehicles on the alcohol and the moonshine and things that they were bathtub gin. And somebody up there in the government said, oh no, our oil and petrochemical people, they'll suffer if people can make their own, fuel for their vehicles. So we have to prohibit alcohol consumption. And then they slapped a nice facade, a nice label of morality and gave us prohibition for 13 years because
okay.
of
Oh
greed.
no, sorry. I went to say something to you, and then my boyfriend answered. Sorry about that.
Oh, no problem.
I was going to say that then it goes
Mhm.
kind of even with the legalization of marijuana. They're they were in my opinion, it seems as though they were in pretty much they were between will we profit more? You got all the dealers out there, right? It's people are using, people are dealing, so they could tax. Okay, well, if we make it legal, we could tax, we could profit off this. Like, we're letting everybody else profit off it. But I think that the reason that they held their ground is because they're already profiting off of it being illegal and arresting literally anybody that even smells like you got a little weed in your car. And I mean, the amount of profit coming in, which again is a whole thing I could get into, but I
Oh,
won't,
yeah.
of like filling
The
our
DEA,
yeah,
Drug
filling our
Enforcement Agency. and how
Mm-hmm.
many of them are actually facilitating the transport
Mm-hmm.
of things that
Yeah.
are quote illegal.
Yeah.
There's just all kinds of yeah. Okay, no, we're going into tinfoil hat,
I'm
maybe.
sorry.
We can't do that right now.
Yeah,
No.
I know. I tried so hard not to, but I was like, oh man. But then it's the same thing with it all comes to like how are they going to profit best, and it's not at the best interest of us. And so that's why like even with the marijuana, the legalization or the not, I feel like they were stuck between, well, would we profit more off of illegal or legal and taxing kind of thing. I don't know.
Well, yeah,
It's
I mean there's far more far more roads or areas of revenue for it to be illegal because not only do you feed the government, the DEA, but the local law enforcement, but also the prison system, which
mm-hmm,
most of our prisons in America now are privately held. They're not run by government anymore, and that's nothing but a profit thing,
mm-hmm,
and then they say, "Oh, well, we're so, we're too booked up. We have too many people in our prisons." Well, how about the guy that had 3 blunts and an ounce of weed that you arrested 12 years ago? Why don't we let him go?
right.
You know,
They're like, no, we'll
why
just
don't
let
we
the
let him
pedophile
go?
out. Let's just let them run around and go collect more victims. Oh my gosh, I can't with it. It infuriates me because it makes no fucking sense. I hate it. I hate it so much. It's like,
Mm.
ah, yeah. Again, back to the profit over humans. It drives me crazy. Um, mm, yeah, I'm with you, Sherry. I'm with you on that one.
Yeah.
It's wild.
I got
It's
all kinds of
truly.
tinfoil hat stuff, guys.
I think that
Do we want to
they're
do?
ready for one. Yeah, we need a
Yeah, they're
tinfoil hat.
saying, "Woo, we need tinfoil." Okay, I'll do that tomorrow night. I promise. I will do a tinfoil hat tomorrow night.
I don't normally speak a
I'll.
lot of my opinions on stuff, because if you don't have an opinion, then you can't get dragged.
You know
But
what?
I found a way to get dragged
I
anyway.
I appreciate your opinions and I appreciate your way of thinking because, Zen 1111 says this all the time that your vibe attracts your tribe.
Mhm,
And that's what I love about it.
mhm,
That my honey bunnies here in the burrow and you and, you know, these other people and whatnot, we are like-minded and we're not so dead set. We're not all, far left and we're not all far right, that we realize that the left and the right wings are attached to the same bird.
mhm. Yep. And they're literally trying to rip the wings off, and it's like, well, then nobody's flying. What are we doing? Is my stance
Exactly.
on
Then they go
it.
nowhere. Yes. See, and so I love that. I know that, you know, um, when you have an opinion, when you express something that there's always going to be somebody that doesn't agree with it, or they're going
Mhm,
to take it out of context, or they're
mhm,
going to twist it into whatever their narrative is. And you know what? I've just gotten to the point where I'm like, okay, fine. I realize that not everybody's going to comprehend what we're talking about. And,
mhm,
and a good example of that is when Laura said that I made a racist comment when I was on Granny's watching.
mhm.
Um, that when I said that when a black person breaks into a home, no, I said when
That person.
someone breaks
Yeah,
into your house.
yeah.
I was not being racist about it. I was talking about, you know, evil in general.
Well, I haven't been on
So
a panel since
not
I misunderstood her. I mean, I didn't give my full thought behind it. So I don't know if that would make more sense to people. I was just trying to, and actually, it involved Laura actually coming up and pretty much trying to hold everybody on panel accountable to something we've all been saying the literal 4 hours leading that whole 4 hours. And she was like questioning, well, what about this? And we're like, yeah, we said that. We feel that way. That's what we said. That's what we. Anyways, it got to a point. I'm like, what are we trying to do here? Are we trying to like rip a person apart? Like you want to rip them down? We got to destroy them? Is that the answer? Like, I don't. People have said they don't agree. It was wrong. They've had discussions publicly on panels, multiple of them, as well as privately. I don't know what more. What do you want? What's the answer? So I used an example to me because it holds different with me. I know it was shortly after Heels had passed, so it was still a bit sensitive for people, and it probably still is, I would imagine for sure. Um, but people did not see what I meant by that. I don't know. They thought I didn't think the conversation was drama. Other than maybe Laura, we were really confused what she was saying. But yeah, my point was trying to stop the bullying that happens on here, or the dog pile was mine. Was like, are you do we need to dog pile a person to hold them? I'm not sure what you're asking. And because I didn't speak up, because again, if you give an opinion, well, you'll be dragged. And I don't get involved with any of the drama or any of that. So I stay quiet, but I don't participate in it if I don't agree with it. So when everybody's over at Heels and they were literally dogpiling her, accusing her, it's like she didn't even know how to use StreamYard, guys. It was only her second or third live. She didn't know where the buttons were. She was so scared, like anxiety, being accused of something that she didn't feel she should, like all these things. And then everyone was like, "You're not dropping the link because you won't answer." It was awful. It was awful to watch it. And it was just terrible, and I did not agree with it. And so she did recognize I didn't join in. However, I felt guilt in myself for not standing for what I feel it's just right or it's wrong. And if I feel that people are bullying or dogpiling on somebody, if you want to be mad at me for that, okay. But I think it's right for me to stand up and say, "Hey, y'all, calm down. Does it? How far do we got to go with it? No one's got to listen to me." But I felt bad for not saying something, and so everybody learned their lesson. She taught everyone something, and a lot of people, it was about giving grace and forgiveness, because a lot of those people
Hmm.
were her friend and turned their back on her and bailed on her or joined in. And she forgave every last one of them. And so their lesson was seeing her give the grace and forgiveness. That wasn't my lesson. I didn't need the grace and forgiveness. I felt I fell short by not standing up and just saying, "I don't think this is what should be done. This is harmful to her." And I regretted it. And so when the second time came around, I did it different. And it's credit to Heels and me feeling I fell short with her that I did it. And so I said, like, "Laura, what do you want done? Why do we need to dogpile somebody if they've already had the combos and all the things?" And so like that's where it was coming from. It was truly a sentiment to her, and a lesson I learned from her. So we don't all learn the same lessons. And I don't know, but it got mistaken. Next thing I know, I'm on all the like review channels that talk shit about your voice, and you know, everyone telling me I'm in outer space and like all these things. I was like, "What? Why am I getting so much hate right now?" You missed it. Yeah, people were even swearing at me
Hmm.
and telling me how dare that little
Hmm.
bee speak on her name. I'm like, what? I meant it as a good thing. I promise. So, and I felt bad if it
Well,
hurt
and
people too.
yeah, but you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't.
Yeah.
Because, and I use this example for myself all the time, that Martin Luther King Jr. was on the FBI's most wanted list for sedition as a traitor. There are people out there that have done horrible, horrible books and movies about Mother Teresa and Gandhi.
Hmm.
What their ultimate goal or their ultimate intentions were, and they're wicked. They're not these good people. So people gonna twist and do all kinds of stuff to make whatever narrative they have going on continue.
Hmm.
And that's why I don't fire up lives when I hear somebody saying that, I did stuff out of their Discord and blah blah and I'm a mole. You know, things that have been out there that are not true. I'm not gonna fire up a live and say, "Hey, that's wrong here. Here's me. This is my side of the story." I don't care because I believe that the truth will come out eventually.
Hmm.
People going to show their character. The truth is going to prove out. And no matter what you say, you're not going to sway people that are
Mhm.
going along, on the tragedy train or whatever the thing is.
Yeah, that's interesting because I've actually said that before in a text that if people feel a certain way or have a certain belief or a stance on something already, they're likely not. No matter what you tell them, they're likely not going to sway and change from that. If they support something, they're likely going to continue to support, or if they don't, they're probably not gonna, no matter what we say or do. And so that, but by
Yeah.
saying that statement, they understood until they didn't want to twist. So yeah, it doesn't matter. Even on that very statement, it still got twisted. So, but yeah, I felt yeah, I hold a little extra weight too on things of not
Mm.
only do I obviously not like people like twisting everything on me and like making me out like that's a pretty terrible thing to be accused of being
Mhm.
disrespectful to the deceased. Like
Mhm.
what? That is not me. And that's even like to me, you hurt me as an individual by that statement, but also my channel. If parents, loved ones were to catch wind, hear that, would they want me speaking about their loved ones that are the ones that are deceased? Like they wouldn't want me to speak on their loved one if they heard that about me. So I'm like, why would you say that? Why would you like twist it that way? But then also whoever's panel I'm on, and then I'm like, oh man, I don't want it to reflect on them that they allow uh, deceased the disrespect of deceased on their panels and don't stand up and you know correct me if I'm being awful. So I try to think of the other people too as well because I don't want them taking heat for it. But I don't
Yeah,
know, Grandma
and
Sherry, we're very much
that's
in the same spot. We're very similar with being accused of
yeah,
stuff that we didn't do. But I mean, what do
yeah,
we do?
and it's just the whatever, and I just figure just keep plugging along, because remember when you and Dietz and Nunya and somebody else were accused of being the nice voice crew.
Yes,
You
yes,
remember
we're the
that?
sweet
The
we're the
nice
sweet
voice.
voice crew. Yeah, we all ended up on a
Yes,
panel over at Beats one time, and I wrote in the back, I'm like, "Uh-oh, the sweet voice crew is together. This is not a good look." That's all I could think.
right?
I'm like, "Oh my
You know,
gosh, no, we can't all be here together. This is terrible."
and is that the worst thing we could be, or do we all have to scream and oh, grandma? No, that's okay, Steph. Grandma mole works too, but it's condensed down into grandma. Anyway,
It's funny.
okay.
I
So,
did laugh to my boyfriend about Green. She came in somewhere Jones maybe or something, and then all of a sudden
huh?
that what you just said clicked, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, Green. She's in the sweet voice crew too."
Yes, she is.
Oh
Yes,
my
she
goodness.
is. So
Well, it's
I
been great
just,
catching up with you, and thank you for covering this topic.
oh, thank you. Thanks for jumping up, and I love having input, but I know that a lot of people don't like to be on panels, so um,
Yeah. We gotta get,
and I'm kind of learning. Yeah, but let's get together with that, like the crime victims and the online safety and stuff,
oh, yeah.
and
Okay.
and we can go ahead
So
and do all that.
I'm gonna put out an announce if
Oh,
anybody is good with, organization of material such as the like, what we're gonna be discussing, just pointers, thoughts. I sort of get maybe how to break it down, but if anybody's really good with that, we wouldn't mind if you just send us a little message, 'cause, there really is
yeah.
a lot of information, a lot, and so I just
Oh,
wanna do
there's
it
a
in
lot of
a way.
information,
Yeah.
and I just oh, let me show you this right quick because I'm like, oh yeah, okay, I'll
I
do
wasn't sure if we were having a scroll moment.
a scroll. No, yeah, I'm
Ah,
thinking,
great.
oh yeah, I'll go ahead and do. a tinfoil hat live, and so see, I have all these things up here: autism, humaning, tinfoil hat lives, moderator stuff, voiceover, shadow work, stories, ideas, Bible stuff. But
Wait, what is
see
that?
this, all this right here. This is just my tinfoil hat stuff, and
What
then
is
in
this?
my lives, this is my OneNote.
Window. Oh, yeah. I just ended up paying money for it because I was like, I need to try to figure out how to organize myself. That's beautifully done, Grimashire. Wow. Yeah, you are way ahead of me on that one. That's great. That's great. You know
Well,
what?
yeah, so
Mine's
I have
go ahead.
so much. Go ahead. Yeah,
Oh
what?
no, I was just gonna say mine are
You
in
said what?
private Discord folders because I don't want everybody to see what a mess it all is. But yeah, no, I could show you one time on my Discord. There's kind of what you just had, but it's all like there's autism safety, and then there's like internet safety and sextortion and specific cases by the name if there were updates, and it's yeah, so it's that, but it's not as organized. I love what you've done. I like that.
Well, I hmm, I I don't have anything on pot, but I could do something on transhumanism,
What's that?
AI and nanobots, and
Okay.
I think I'll put up a poll on my community thing.
Okay.
I have to go.
Okay. Well, I hope that you have a
But
great
thank you so
afternoon.
much.
Yeah. Thanks for
Yes.
inviting in people to come up. It was a
Thank
good
you so
talk.
much. I appreciate everybody who came in. Appreciate everybody on replay crew. Please hit the like,
Steph's
subscribe
trying
if
to
you're
make
not.
sure. I'm sorry. Steph's trying to make sure she's not in the sweet voice club by yelling with her caps.
Green in the house. Well, I
She's like,
yelled
I don't.
back.
I'm. She's like, my name's in the chat. I don't want to be accused of being in that group. Mm-mm. All right. Thanks.
Exactly.
I
No
love you.
sweet ways. I love you so much.
All right. Bye, everybody. Bye, Grandma Sherry.
Bye. Thanks for sticking out here if you've been here this long. Woohoo. So to the Olympics. Oh la la. What in the world? You're blocking my video because of the Olympics. Oh, zit alors. Anyway, I will see you guys tomorrow. Hey, Twist. Hi, sweetheart. I know my girlfriend. Oh, baby, hi. Missed the first 15 minutes. That's fine. That's fine. I'm trying to keep a promise to myself that since I have all of these things I want to talk about, that, if people are here, yay. If they're not, yay. And if they're on replay, yay. I just have so much stuff I want to share with y'all that I'm just going to do this consistently now. It's a promise I made to myself. So this is day number 2 of consistent streaming. Yeah. Out of all the whole thing, everything that we talk about and whatnot, it all boils down to honey buddies. Let's be better humans, okay? Let's be kindness. We even have a little emoji. I did this in honor of Queen Bella because she says this all the time. It says kindness is free. Kindness is free. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. You know, love my mods. Thanks so much. You're never alone for anything. If you're having trouble, if you're struggling with something, reach out and talk to somebody. You can talk to me. And I have a lot of people who would absolutely verify that they can talk to Grandma Sherry for hours on end. And sometimes even into the wee hours of the morning. I'm here for you. I'll listen. I might not have any advice for you, but I love you and I will listen to you. And if you not comfortable doing that, reach out to a friend on Discord or somebody that you know on Facebook or just anybody. And if you don't have, immediate touchy feely people, we have a lot of helplines in the outro. I love you guys.